But imagine if marriage didn't exist, and you're a guy and you asked a woman to get married. Imagine what that conversation would be like. You'd be like, hey, so, you know, we've been hanging out together all the time, spending a lot of time together and everything. Yeah, I know. I want to keep doing that till you're dead. What? I want to keep hanging out with you till one of us dies. Put this ring on your finger so people know we have an arrangement. What? Who's that guy? It's a priest. I want you to swear to God you won't back out of this deal. What's he wheeling in? It's a cake with 2 tiny dolls that look like us. Eat a slice. Now feed a little bit to me. And this is really strange. Why are we doing this? Tax purposes.
So, well, what's your background? What's your deal? Well, my background is that I'm a minister. Now, if you're not much of a churchgoer, don't let that make you nervous. Some of my biggest fans are heathens. All right? And this isn't one of those things where we sneak you in and then beat you over the head with a Bible. All right? But I do have a Bible verse I need to show you. Okay, because I found a Bible verse that if you follow the advice from this one Bible verse, you will never, ever, ever have a problem in marriage. How many think that's worth seeing? All right, you follow the advice from this one verse, you'll never have a problem in marriage. It says it's good for a man not to marry. All right? So, well, why would he say that? That's such a terrible thing to say. Because he goes on to explain, he who marries will have trouble in this life. You know, people come up to me, Pastor Mark, something's wrong. I say, what is it? We got trouble in our marriage. I go, no, that's about right. Hey, there ain't nothing wrong. That's pretty normal. Now, you don't hear these verses read at weddings very often. Kind of downplay that. You know, you don't see those on Hallmark cards. You don't see them on cakes with pretty calligraphy. He who marries will have trouble. But it's too late for you. You know, you say, if that's the case, then why get married? Because marriage is absolutely wonderful. It's great. It's fantastic. But it's not that it's without trouble. All right? And I want to show one other verse to you. Now, you don't have the deep theological training that I have, so you might have a hard time understanding this verse. But I'll try and explain it to you. This is found in Proverbs. And it goes like this. Where no oxen are, the manger is clean. Let me explain that to you, okay? What does that mean? What it means, if you're going to have an ox, you're going to have ox poo, all right? Now, if you don't like poo, and most of us are not real big fans of poo, if you don't like poo, the temptation is get rid of the ox. Preach it, brother. No. I don't want you to get rid of the ox, all right? You know? So, well, why would you keep the ox around? Because he goes to the second half of the verse, it says, because much increase comes by the strength of the ox. Well, now there's the catch-22. On the one hand, we all love the benefit of the ox, but nobody likes the poo. And what he's trying to tell us here is you cannot have one without the other. There is no such thing as a poo-free marriage. It just doesn't exist. Unless you shoot the ox, okay? but that leads to other problems. So this weekend is not about attaining a state of perfection in your life, all right? It's about getting a proper positive to poo ratio in your life. You see, because if all you get is poo, then you got one sick ox. Are you hearing me? All right? So, but there's no such thing as a poo-free marriage. For those of you having a hard time grasping this, I have a mathematical version of it. It goes, ox equals poo over positive. Some say positive over poo. But anyway, it's the ratio that we want to get going here, okay?
So how was your night?
My husband found himself in a very traumatic shark situation.
Here we go.
As we were planning to go to the waterfall and have a romantic evening, because, as you know, we don't do that very often because of the kids and work. But somehow this crazy, traumatic shark experience was enough to make him neglect his wife.
Ronnie, nice to meet you. Well said. David, how did that make you feel?
I know my truth.
Excuse me?
I know my truth.
Did you say I know my truth? Oh, boy.
Listen, I'm telling you, you getting on my last nerve. Yo, I ain't signed up for this. Yo, you said we was gonna be dancing. You said we was gonna be partying. You said we was gonna be doing what we do. You made promises, Daddy.
Boo-boo, look, they got me doing a lot of activities. What do you expect from me? I'm tired.
You tired? Yo, I'm tired. Plain and simple, I ain't having it.
Sometimes we forget how to do the easiest thing in the world, which is just to talk to each other. Okay, let's start here. Lucy, you go first. I want you to look at Joey and say hi. And Joey, after you've heard that, I want you to look back at Lucy and say hello in return. And then we'll just see where it goes from there, okay?
Hi.
Hello.
You kept saying open and fruitful and other weird stuff that's not feeling. It's just more talking in short half sentences. And you managed to turn feeling into a job or an activity, and it was exhausting.
So now it's my fault that you don't feel satisfied.
Everything is my fault? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that.
You don't look at me. You don't ever ask me how I am.
You haven't looked at me in 10 years.
I'm crazy, and everything is my fault, and my family is awful, and nothing at all is your fault. Because you rock, Joey.
If a guy talked to me like that, I'd punch him in the face.
Oh!
It's like a little kid who gets a puppy for the first time, just hugs it so much, snaps his neck. Cynthia's your puppy. It's puppy cradle death syndrome. All that love is gonna snap that puppy. You don't want that.
This weekend, I'm going to be speaking to you in basic stereotypes. In other words, women generally tend to be a certain way. Men generally tend to be a certain way. But they're not all that way. I get it. Okay? Some of the people that just have a cow. Well, I don't know. That's you for all men. I'm admitting it's not, all right? Just generally speaking, we don't have time to get into all the shades of gray. But generally speaking, men are a certain way, women are a certain way. If I start describing something that's not you, don't have a cow, just interpolate for your relationships. In Debbie's and I relationship, there are areas where we're completely opposite of a typical man and a woman. I remember when I was first studying this stuff, I thought, oh man, I'm a woman. So just interpolate. I will say this, that if you tend to be one way in a certain relationship, your wife generally will be the other way. I don't think I've run across a couple yet. I'm sure they're out there that act the exact same way. You know, so if you break the rules, chances are your spouse is breaking them right with you, and you just flip on this deal, okay? For example, a typical stereotype. Men are more interested in sex than their wives. Why would you say that? Because generally it's true. But it's not always true. There are a lot of relationships where the wife is much more interested in sex than her husband. If you're here tonight and your wife is much more interested in sex than you are, I think I speak for all the men here when I say that we hate you. Please don't tell us who you are. We will hurt you, all right? So just go with the flow. It'll be cool. We'll have a great time.
This is the card I got.
Is this funny?
This is the card.
For what?
For Jeannie.
For what?
For Valentine's Day.
Dear Jeannie. Is it two N's or... It's I-E. No, it's not with a G. I can't get this right.
Dear Jim, I'll never forget the moment we first met. I thought, he is so arrogant.
The first time I laid eyes on you, I thought, here's a woman out of my league, but I'm feeling overconfident.
My favorite things about you are your ability to make me laugh in the most ridiculous situations.
You make me a less monstrous human being.
Parenting with you is an amazing adventure.
Parenting with you is just like when David Beckham parents with that Spice Girl.
Your scent reminds me of marshmallows, and I love marshmallows.
Your scent reminds me of bratwurst.
I love it when you agree with me.
I love you when you're not yelling.
Without you, I would be less sleep deprived, single, and at peace.
Without you, I would be Wendy Williams. That's the weird thing, is I know that.
You make me a better housekeeper by giving me so much opportunity to practice.
You make me a better messy person, because I can do it easier.
I love you because you always leave little tokens of your affection for me around the house, like your dirty socks.
I love it when you pick up my socks.
You are sexiest when you're covered in spit up.
You're sexiest when you pick up my socks.
Thank you for putting up with my compulsive organizing.
Thanks for putting up with my perfection.
Love your wife, your writing partner, partner in parenting, partner in crime, Jeannie.
Love. How do you spell J-I? No, it's G-Y. No, that's the thing that I don't go to. I don't know. Where's spell check on this thing?
Now, I believe marriage is a life-giving institution. We live in a culture today that believes marriage is a life-sucking institution. It will suck the life out of you. All right? And that's why we say, make sure you're old enough. Make sure you have enough money. Make sure you have enough education. Make sure you've been dating for 37 years first. Make sure that, get all this stuff. Why? You got to get everything together and ready so that when you say I do, you can withstand the, ah! But it's not that way. It'll give you life if you'll do it right. If you do this right, marriage can be the closest thing to heaven on earth. If you do it wrong, well, you fill in the blanks. Marriage is a wonderful institution. Statistically speaking, we know that married people are healthier than single people. They are actually happier than single people, assuming you're doing this right. Or you can be profoundly unhappy. They actually make more money than single people, and I'll mention a little bit later why that's true, okay? They have better sex than single people. Now, you don't see that in our culture, in all the movies and shows, it's the single people all having really great sex, and the married people are, someone will say, well, how's your sex life? Are you kidding? I'm married, ha. And it's not true. It's a bunch of baloney, okay? Married people have great sex compared to single people. Single people don't even know what they're doing, for crying out loud, okay? And statistically speaking, married people live longer than single people. This is particularly true for men. Statistically speaking, one of the most dangerous things a man can do in America today is remain single. It is the equivalent of smoking 2.5 packets of cigarettes a day. It's true. They found that if you take someone who has 2.5 packs of cigarettes a day and the health problems and the shortness of life and all the difficulties, and a single guy is pretty much the same. I guess the worst would be a single guy who smokes 2.5 packs of cigarettes a day.
had a very interesting lunch with George Costanza today.
Really?
We were talking about our lives, and we both kind of realized we're kids. We're not men.
So then you asked yourselves, isn't there something more to life?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, well, let me clue you in on something. There isn't.
There isn't?
Absolutely not. I mean, what are you thinking about, Jerry? Marriage? Family?
Well,
they're prisons. Man-made prisons. You're doing time. You get up in the morning, she's there. You go to sleep at night, she's there. It's like you gotta ask permission to use the bathroom. Is it all right if I use the bathroom? Really? Yeah, and you can forget about watching TV while you're eating.
I can?
Oh, yeah. You know why? Because it's dinner time. And you know what you do at dinner?
What?
You talk about your day. How was your day today? Did you have a good day today or a bad day today? Well, what kind of day was it? Well, I don't know. How about you? How was your day? Boy, it's sad, Jerry. It's a sad state of affairs.
I'm glad we had this talk.
Oh, you have no idea.
All right, but marriage is wonderful. It's great. It rocks. I love it, okay, if you do it right. Now, the problem here is so many people don't do it right. And it's not that they don't know, not that they don't want to do it, right? They don't know what to do. We live in a culture today that seems for somehow in the relationship area to be completely clueless. We seriously don't know what to do. Now, this weekend, what I want to do is show you specific things you can do that will absolutely energize and transform your marriage life. How many think that's worth hearing? Yeah, okay? So, now I want to talk to you about what I call the laws of relational physics. You see, the laws of physics affect everybody, whether you believe them or not. Okay? If I step off this stage, I'm probably, in all likelihood, going to go down. If I start floating around, you might want to freak out and run. But why? Because the laws of physics affect. Well, I don't believe that. It doesn't matter what I believe. I'm going down, right? Doesn't matter if I'm a born-again Christian. Doesn't matter if I'm a heathen. I'm going, because it affects everybody. Well, just like that, there are laws of relational physics, and they affect everybody, whether you believe them or not. Now, this might come as a little bit of a shock to those of you who are church people, especially hearing from a minister. But the truth is, you don't have to be a Christian to have a great marriage. I know a lot of heathens that have wonderful marriages. I know a lot of born-again Christians who have horrible marriages. Why is that? They're breaking all the rules. And they assume somehow that the rules don't apply to them, but they do. Here's an example. If you're driving a car 80 miles an hour around a curve that says only 40, and you keep going 80, chances are you're going to get hurt, even if you're listening to a Christian radio station. Even if you have a statue of Jesus on the, he might be going, but why is that? Because the laws of physics still affect you, but for some miracle, you're going to get hurt. Same true with relational physics.